Welcome to the Bottom of the Ninth podcast. This is Eric, president of the Baseball Blue Book, the most comprehensive directory since 1909. We are now available for download on Apple iTunes and Google Play. Same great directory that we have been printing for over 100 years, now available in a mobile app, absolutely free. All you need to do is visit us at baseballbluebook.com, download your free app, build your own profile, put out all of your stats, your videos, everything that you'd like to share with the platform, the network, and find your next baseball opportunity. Everything, again, absolutely free. Coaches, get in there, find the players to fill out your rosters. Players, find your next playing opportunity. Vendors and training facilities, promote your products and your services out to the community. We're really excited about this. Again, visit us at baseballbluebook.com for your free download. Today's podcast is brought to you by All Bat Company. Changing the game begins by changing the bat. Swing wood, swing all or nothing. Visit them at allbatcompany.com. Proudly built and manufactured in the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my hometown. Very excited about that. I visited with Joe on an earlier episode, so make sure you check out Joe, find out what he's all about and what his business is all about. Great guy, great product. You'll be impressed. Today, I'm excited about welcoming Jay prior to the program. Jay is a player development trainer for San Diego Star Baseball Academy. His passion is to help kids develop skills and knowledge of the game, something that they may not learn at the neighborhood little league or local high school or even college. His goal is to assist them with their advancement as a ball player, improve their skills, and increase their confidence. We're going to jump right in today.
All right. Well, never mind.
That's good.
Good news. Good news.
All right. Well, hey, first of all, I apologize for this last Sunday night. That was
man. Everything all right? Everything good?
Yeah, I've got a couple kids now.
Yeah.
We adopted. I think I shared that with you last time.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old, and
you know,
it's been a while since I had kids. I've raised 2 daughters, and I was kind of on my own, and all of a sudden have another 2-year-old running around. You forget.
you have some that think they know what life is, and some that are just starting to figure it out, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We absolutely love it. But it's a massive change. So,
yeah.
And you know what? It kind of the timing probably couldn't have been better. You know, this COVID thing. My wife and I, we were out and about traveling. We were going everywhere and have a lot of fun, and everything kind of shut down. And so, you know, we built a house, and now we're kind of homebodies and raising a family again. So it's
starting all over.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Good. Good for you, man. Good for
you. So Jay, this has nothing to do with me. You know,
I don't know. Yeah, I know you said that last time. I don't know if I'm excited about that or not, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So, you know, we actually discovered you obviously through Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really just us reaching out to the community and seeing what's out there. And, you know, I really like what you have. I've read kind of your bio and you know, walking away from the game a bit and then coming back and having a better perspective of just the I think what you became is more of a student of the game. It sounds like.
Essentially, yeah. To kind of put it in, you know, a big summarization. Yeah, I just kind of walked away and said, you know, I'm done. There's no point for me to continue on. I don't really know what this is leading towards. And then really just kind of going back to it and having a spark of the love again, and figuring out that, you know, I do have a passion for it still, and wanting to at least be able to help and teach others as well. So that's kind of where it started, at least.
I think you can tell that you have gone through, especially at a young age, gone through kind of that change. I talked to a coach up in Long Island last week, and he's probably closer to my age, and he had to, through some traumas of his own, kind of walked away from the game, and when he came back, a lot of his friends didn't really recognize him. You know, he had a different demeanor, more a calm, and you actually come across as somebody that's gone through a lot of the things that maybe you haven't gone through, right?
Old soul, huh? Old soul.
Yeah, kind of an old soul, exactly. So, Well, talk about, you went to Arizona State, right? You had a whole bunch of, take us through the beginning. I mean, you started really young. You've been balling for a long, long time.
Yeah,
And so,
man, it's been a long time. Just the normal, nothing special, honestly, nothing special. Just the normal transition of played ball from 4 years old. As a young one, just kept playing. Baseball has taken me all over the place, from Japan, went to Japan with Team USA out of San Diego, Florida, Omaha, went to go watch the College World Series, which was really cool when I was maybe 11 or 12. I've been all over, been all over different places, and it's been a really fun ride. Went to Mission Bay High School. From there, had a few scholarship opportunities. And it's really funny because when people ask me where did I play college ball, it's just such a hard thing to get into. I'm like, I just played college. Like, I'm not even going to get into this right now, but had a few scholarship opportunities. One was at Texas Southern, stayed there for a few weeks. Played summer ball there, which was a really cool opportunity, but scholarship wise, just wasn't really, out of state tuition, things like that it all had an effect back then. And then went straight from there to Ottawa, Kansas, which, like I said, I've been to a lot of different places, and that was probably the biggest culture shock that I've ever had. Ottawa, Kansas was a very small place coming from a big city like San Diego. So,
Ottawa, where was that exactly? Is that Western Kansas or?
It probably is Western Kansas because we were closest to Kansas City,
which I know is that Eastern.
Is that Eastern? Well,
yeah. God, I'm actually looking it up right now.
There you go.
I'm in Missouri, so that Kansas it borders us. So that's
gotcha. Yeah, I know that because I know we were able. While I was there, I was able to go visit the Negro Leagues Hall of Fame as well.
Yep, that's in Kansas City. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're just right there outside of Lawrence. So you're right by KU. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I think that's where we kind of flew into, I think, even. But again, that was just a different opportunity. And actually, the story goes is I got home from that visit, and my mom had already signed the paperwork for me to go off to Arizona State. So there was no negotiating. I did my, basically my summer of college baseball, got back, and I think it was August. And I was probably mid-July, and I had got shipped out to Arizona State. There was a camp there in the beginning, just for school purposes. ASU had a tryout walk-on thing. I was late to that. I didn't have a car at the time. I couldn't drive, couldn't get there. My sister had lived out there. She was helping me through the process of trying to get there. And then they had recommended that I go play and the coach, very, very upfront, and he let us know, he's like, look, I got 36 kids right now. The likelihood of me dropping 2 and picking up a walk-on is not going to happen. But, you guys are more than willing to come out here and show your stuff. And so I was like, well, I'm here already. So, and then they had recommended us to play for the club team. And by that time I was like, this is pointless for me. So, I'm not 6'3". I don't throw 98 across the diamond. I'm just a fast twitch kind of middle infield kind of guy. So nothing spectacular. And from there, graduated, came back home. I'd always been involved with baseball because my dad still coaches the same team that I had played on growing up as well. So I'd go out there every once in a while. And then getting started with this whole training thing was just 2 years ago next week, actually.
Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you. It was actually my wife who had really encouraged me because I was coming home from work and just sitting around doing nothing. So she finally told me to get off my behind and go do something. I was like, well, if I'm going to do something, might as well be baseball related. So that's kind of the story of me. You've got a lot in there, right? I don't know if you probably already know that there's a lot in that story. I mean, I hear a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles, a lot of unknowns. Do you use a lot of this in some of the training that you provide to the kids today, or is it really more 100%? 100%. And that's more fueled towards the younger age versus the older age. The older age guys that are playing college baseball, no matter what level, 3, 1, whatever it is, the conversation is a lot different. For the passion that kind of drives for the younger ages, it's, I wish that I had me when I was younger. I didn't have somebody that showed me and broke things down. For a lot of my teammates and players that I played with, we were just good. We were naturally just good at the game. We didn't really have a guy that showed us how to, funnel the ball straight to our chest and switch the feet, shuffle the feet, do this, and X, Y, and Z. It was just, hey, go out there, feel the ground ball, and make it happen. And, we would try to make it look cute, make it look good. But I didn't have that guy that really drove me. And honestly, even in high school, I didn't really take baseball seriously. It was, like I said, it for myself and a lot of my friends, it came very natural. We had very good teams growing up, and we just all kind of went into the same high school as well. But we didn't have a very good work ethic. We were too worried about what else is going on, after Friday night.
Isn't that the truth? Yep.
Versus, trying to stay at practice for 3 hours.
Right.
And
well,
so
our trainers, our trainers were the guys on TV.
Yes.
Mine was, right. You emulated somebody that you
Jose
liked.
Reyes was my guy. I loved watching Jose Reyes as a Mets shortstop, and the Mets were, good back in those days as well. So,
right.
Of course they're good now, but, Jose Reyes was a guy that I really looked up to, and tried to emulate. Trying to think of some other guys that I can. Yeah, Jose Reyes was a big one for me.
Yeah,
but
no,
you're absolutely right.
Watching people, how they catch, how they pitch. First base was a big thing for me. I was I'm a left-handed guy, so watch the first baseman a lot. And those are angles on TV you got all the time. So you kind of emulate those guys, and you pick up a few things. But absolutely, like you said. It was us just getting out there and just playing hard
just
and
doing it. Yes.
We went and had fun, and today it's completely changed. So talk about the transition that you see today, and you've kind of taken advantage of that. I mean, it's to a positive side. I mean, you see a need and you kind of filled that gap. So talk about the transition to, hanging the cleats up and then your wife telling you to get off your butt.
Yeah. That's it sounds weird, but that's exactly what it was like. I would come home and I'd go to work and back then I was huge into ping pong. I love ping pong. And we had just got a ping pong table at work. And so I'd stay for hours. I'd be done with work at 4 and I wouldn't get home till 7:30 just playing ping pong. And then after that, I'd eat, play Call of Duty, and then go to sleep and do it all over again. So, and
every other guy your age.
Was that?
Like every other guy your age.
Exactly. and it was, this is my first job out of college. And I'd been there for, probably 4 or 5 years, and it was just repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. And I finally decided, what, let me go ahead and, start taking baseball seriously. The biggest driver for me, when I had first started getting into training, my dad is actually the assistant varsity coach at my old high school as well. I would go down to the high school, and that was the age that I really wanted to focus on. And I said, what, I know too much now. I study too much. I look at too much to not be able to share some things with these high school guys to help propel them to a spot where I, quite frankly, couldn't really get to. So I wanted to be able to help them get to that spot and show them and kind of mentor them, especially while I was young. So that way I think it's a little bit more of a eye to eye conversation. Then I got to high school and I would go out there helping. And again, my dad has a 9-year-old team as well, but I saw that these 13, 14 and 16-year-olds have the same issues that these 9, 10 and 11-year-olds have. So then I kind of started thinking, I was like, well, if that's the case, why not just beat it to the punch?
Yeah.
And make sure that I'm helping out these younger ones now. So that way they can actually learn that 2 + 2 = 4
right
before they get to high school. And then you get to high school and now I hate to say it, but you're a junior and you're SOL.
You're reteaching. Reteaching is tough. Reteaching somebody.
Exactly. Breaking habits is very hard. Right. It's easy when you've only played baseball for 3 to 5 years.
Right.
It's hard when you've been doing it for 10+ years and you're trying to get into a college now. And by that time, you're probably stuck in your ways where you don't really want to change anyways. I remember being that, at that stage where it's like, no, you're not gonna change anything. I don't want to change my swing for what? I'm okay. But so that was what really kind of revamped that for me, was going to the high school, seeing kind of how they were moving defensively, at least. And realizing that I could possibly make a change at the younger age, so then that way they can get to high school and be just fine and just continue to grow into their body and don't have to change mechanically. So that was a big driver for me, and that's still the same today as well.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. So was your dad very instrumental in helping you kind of get started with the contacts, or how did you do that?
No, not on purpose, but I mean, he was just, he's just coaching, and I would just go out there and help. And and
you did this on your own?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, people just kind of started to gravitate towards my style, and I hear all the time where now parents on my team will say, hey, come go talk to him because he's not going to listen to me. And it's like, yeah, I believe that. And my dad had even told me by a certain age, he goes, doesn't matter what I said, you would always look to somebody else to say the same exact thing, and you would listen to them. And he told me that I had a hitting coach that was saying the same exact thing that he was saying, but I'd gravitate towards him. And the hitting coach had told him, well, you got to think that you're the same one that tells him to take out the trash, clean your room, go cut the grass, do all these different things. The last person that he wants to listen to is you on a baseball field.
Right.
So that makes complete sense when it, full circle, where usually the first conversation that I have with parents is, I think that you can be able to get to them mentally. And it's like, I know I can not only speak the language that they're looking for, but I can show them as well. And that's a big thing for me, as well as being able to show kids. I've had many coaches that are great baseball minds, but they just tell you what to do versus show you what to do. So, while I'm still young, I can utilize my body. That's a big driver for being able to connect with kids as well.
No, that's great. So you're now, building your brand down there in San Diego. Is it really? Are you doing a lot of the online training, or is it a lot of the personal? Because of that showing aspect, is it, you really
all
appreciate
personal.
That side?
I haven't dabbled in, and a lot of people had asked me especially during this past year of COVID, hey, can you do something online for my son or daughter? And I've had to politely, decline that offer, just because I feel like it won't be as genuine. You won't get the full effect of me. And the last thing that I want to do is be able to dilute what I do. So I think that's a big thing for me is, I don't want to teach through a screen. I want to be able to be face to face with you, which will it change eventually? Maybe. It's just hard because I still work 8 hours a day. So, I don't really have the luxury to be able to, just block things off when I can have the same business face to face in San Diego, versus, again, online. So at some point, I'm sure it probably will transition to that. But right now, I'm having fun and keeping the balance of my work versus baseball, which is turning into work as well. So, but I haven't gotten into the online stuff. I do feel like it's going to kind of change a little bit of me, and you won't get the full effect of me. So that's part of the reasons why I've been a little bit hesitant towards that side.
I think, my personal opinion, I think that's probably a good thing. I think COVID obviously forced a lot of people into those avenues. I don't think it's all bad. What it's turned into is a library of a lot of really good videos for people to reference, right? But from a teaching perspective, I think what you just said is absolutely key, right? I need somebody there that sees what I'm doing rather than showing them how to do something.
Exactly.
You need feedback, right?
Exactly. And it's just basis with me is I might get in my truck to drive to the field with a set plan of, who I'm working with and what I would like to tackle with them. By the time I see one thing, I completely change everything. And now I'm just flowing off of whatever I see. So that way we can kind of change. I kind of refer to myself, or I think of myself as a car mechanic. I'm not going to work on the fender of your car if the problem is your front right wheel.
Right.
You know, so, and that's where I think the online training is going to get to for me, unfortunately, is I'm going to have a list of things. Hey, we're going to tackle short hops. We're going to tackle, working through the ball. We're going to tackle attacking the ball. We're going to tackle X, Y, and Z. And it's just going to start to become a little bit more cookie cutter, which again, that's not the way I teach. I might start working on short hops with somebody their very first day, and I might look at their hands and say, you know what? We're not going to touch them. We're not going to do anything else. You have great hands already. I'm not going to mess those up. I'm not going to do anything with those. We might slowly define some things, but I'm not going to change anything. We're going to go ahead and move on. So with that aspect of the way that I teach, it's going to be really hard to go to that online side and say, hey, we're going to do this. And then I'm looking through the screen like this and trying to figure out, okay, that was a good job, but who's soft tossing, or excuse me, who's throwing the short hops to you? Right. Are you just tossing off of a wall? How can you approach so much different things? Yeah. So that, at least for me, I think I'll stay away from that for right now.
So the online could become, as you said, a little bit more cookie cutter. Quick question for you. So do you see, you're training all of these individuals, and one of the things that I've noticed is everybody seems to be training, not everybody, but a lot of training is creating a lot of identical players. The pitching mechanics are all the same. The swing is all the same. My favorite player, and I've got my Pirates hat on, my favorite player is Roberto Clemente.
That's the reason why I wore number 21. Actually, I grew up wearing number 21 because of Roberto. I have a whole essay that I did in like second grade about him, actually, but that's cool.
He was one of the best, right? And he did more off the field than he did on the field. I mean, just amazing person. But he had the most unorthodox swing. You're not going to teach his swing.
Yes.
Right. So are you taking the talents that you see with these players and then making them a better hitter, or are you trying to change who they are? And I'll let you answer it whatever way you want to answer it.
So the reason why I stick with fielding is because of that issue.
Okay.
I don't touch hitting. I don't touch pitching. I don't touch anything but footwork and fielding the ground ball. And to me, there's a less range of error, or did I do this right or not, in that aspect versus trying to get everyone's swing to look exactly the same. That's too much of a, well, this person's swing is different, this person's swing is different, all these. And if you notice, especially for hitting, if you look back at the years, like you said, Roberto Clemente, that swing is completely different than Aaron Judge. Right. Completely different. Now they might be getting to the same spot eventually, but the stances, the way their loads, everything is just the hitting side of things. Just so there's too many variables in it. Now, not only do I have to worry about your swing, I have to worry about the pitcher. I got to figure out, is he a 3-ball guy? Is he mixing in, sinker or slider? There's too many variables in that. Right. And that's again, one of the reasons why I stay away from it, because I feel like there almost is a cookie cutter way to feel the ground ball. You're always going to have to, for a routine ground ball, you always got to right left to this. It's right in front of you. Just go ahead and the section that you funnel the ball to should always be in the middle of your chest. You throw from that spot anyways. Right. So those things are never going to change. And I'm sure, you spoke to a hitting coach, they might say, very similar things where, y'all want you to be in an athletic stance, rotate from there, things of that nature. Whereas there are going to be similarities. But not one person looks the same to me. There's a reason why Francisco Lindor and Javi Baez just look different than everybody else. Right. They just do things differently. When I speak to kids, I tell them all the time, I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. Francisco Lindor and Javi Baez make the rules. We just look at them and say, this is what it's supposed to look like. Right. Now, of course, Baez can't make a throw to first base to save his life this year, but that's a completely different topic. So again,
that we need a mental coach now.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That's like Ben Simmons shooting the ball. So we know he can do it, but he just doesn't do it for whatever reason.
Right.
So that's, again.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, fielding, your footwork, handwork, those things are really fundamental.
They stay consistent.
They've stayed
for the most part. They stay consistent. You got about, outside of 5 different lanes, there's really not too much. Maybe 6. There's really not too much. You got the far left. You might have to go ahead and push through, spin move, throw to first. You got maybe a little bit shorter than that. Go ahead and use 2 hands. With one straight at you, 2 hands, one on your backhand, or one a little bit to your right. I like this term a lot that Kai Correa uses. I think he says to fight with the feet. I love that. Fight with the feet, get around the ball, still use 2 hands. And then you got the one to the far backhand and run through it, jeter it, do whatever you got to do. And then you got the one you got to throw on the run. There's different forms of the way that you do that. But for the most part, that's kind of what you work off of, at least. That's your foundation to start off. So, and again, I'm sure if you spoke to a hitting coach, they might say the same exact thing. There's a specific foundation that we look for, and we work off of that. But again, there's just too many variables on the hitting side for me. And nor was I a crazy strong hitter. I bunted my life away growing up, and and I could slap the ball here and there. I couldn't hit 450 feet, and that just wasn't my game. So I just stick with my strengths, and that was always defense.
So as a trainer, what do you see yourself as? Do you see yourself as a specialist, or do you see yourself as more of an overall kind of a mentor to these players?
Both. I would like to call myself an infield specialist, or like I mentioned earlier, I like to think of myself as like an infield mechanic. You bring your car to me and you say that there's a problem. Well, my goal is to drive it around the block a few times, because you didn't really specify what problem it was. And even if you did, you just told me that the steering was wrong. Okay, well, that's great, but now I need to figure out how the car actually moves. The steering could be wrong, yeah, but it could be a lot of different things that's causing this. You're seeing the results. I need to look at the behavior. So, like I said, I like to think of myself as an infield mechanic, because I have to drive this car around the block a few times. Then we can start to break down what the issue, and I hate to use a human being as a car analogy, but that's kind of what I'm doing.
That's a really good analogy, actually.
So that's my goal and change. I do like to look at myself as a mentor for. It's hard to say, because there's kids that I see weekly for the past year, and those are the kids that I've had an affinity for, because I've built a connection with them, and many of them are just on my team, so it's just easier. I still run a team with my dad. We have 2 teams right now, 2 10U teams. And so I see them 3 to 4 times a week. So it's a lot different. And, I have nicknames for every single one of them. And I tell them all the time, I'll be the guy that's, making fun of you when you get your ugly girlfriend in high school. And then I'll be the one that's, clapping you on when you get the cute girl in high school, stuff like that. And so those are the guys that I feel like I can be mentors to. But again, it's just because I see them more often. But I would like to see myself as a mentor for everybody as much as possible, as much as I can for the young ones, at least.
So I'm going to go off of your analogy, because I think it's a great analogy.
Infield mechanic.
As a technician, right? You're looking for some of those root causes that are causing what they're experiencing, right?
Yes.
Exactly like you said. My car's pulling to the right. Well, that it could be multiple things, right? Mm-hmm. So you're test driving, you're seeing how this goes, and now you're digging in, you're figuring out what that is, and typically it's some fundamentals. It may be feet work, it may be even the angle that they're coming at the ball. Mm-hmm. I think what the mentor is you're taking this car, but then now you're going to the person that's driving the car and teaching them how to drive the car most appropriately.
Yes, right? That's a great way of putting it, because the car is an analogy for what's going on here and now.
Right.
The driver is always going to be the person itself that gets behind the car. Exactly. Essentially. So that's a great way of, I really like that. That's a great way of putting it. And me personally, I do have a behavioral science background, and that's what I actually got my degree and my bachelor's in is social and behavioral science. So I look at all of those different things. I still use some of those, key things. I'm not going to give away all my little secrets, but just like little things, especially for young ones. And again, I'm going to keep focusing on the young ones because I feel like those are the guys who can benefit the most, being able to hear, like I said, again, I use this analogy all the time. 2 + 2 is 4.
Right.
Don't teach young ones that 2 + 2 is 3. I sit there and read every single comment. I don't know what people think, like I'm a business or an organization. I'm just a person with an Instagram and, a TikTok that I go on occasionally. And I see these comments and it's like, why would you teach this kid that young to do that? I'm like, oh, why would you teach him anything else? Why would you teach them something different? And then all of a sudden we get to this magical age that we deem should be appropriate for them to learn the correct or desired way. It's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So for me, looking at the behavioral sides of things, again, coming from my background in college and on forth, just little things about how to connect with kids. And I think that's the biggest thing, as well as being able to connect with them. So that way you're not only AKA fixing the car, but you're teaching the driver as well, essentially.
Yep. Well, and I the way I'm sitting here running through my brain, it doesn't matter. You could have the best sports car, you buy a Ferrari, it only can do so much. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really matter what you think it can do. Mm-hmm. You need to know what it can do. And the fundamentals of baseball are what you're teaching. That's the car.
Yes.
You can't do certain things. You may want to do certain things. Mm-hmm. You can't do certain things, right? Yes. And so I think that's where you're talking about the 5 lanes. There is a way to do this.
Yes.
And the more athletic you are, the better car you are, the better you're going to do the same thing that the other person is going to be doing, right?
Exactly. That's a great way of putting it. A Toyota Tundra can't do the same thing as a Ferrari, nor would I want it to. My Tundra should probably be playing left field, right field, because he hits 450 and doesn't really need to do much else but just jog the bases. But you as a Ferrari need to be able to understand that this is how you move, this is how you operate. So that's a big part of my teaching, at least, is and I use cars all the time. I use car analogies, and I have a player that I call them a Lamborghini. I'm like, dude, you're a Lamborghini with no brakes. You are just all go all the time, which is great. I love to have that, but now I need you to figure out how to operate on this level versus operate on this level all the time. And just being able to say those little things, it clicks with them a little bit more, because they can imagine a car.
Absolutely. And it's such an easy and it's an easy analogy, right? And we keep going on this, but when you buy one of those types of cars, Lamborghini, Ferrari, a high-end Porsche, they spend the entire day with the mechanics walking through the car and talking to you about what the car is about. You don't just hop in that car and take off. You learn. A lot of times they take you through driving school, right? So you sit there and you take multiple days worth of driving, because it is different. And if you don't understand the fundamentals, you're going to ruin it. And I think that's something, I think that's what you're saying, right? It's rather than take these kids that really have some great talent, let's teach them how to drive right from the beginning, so they can get the most out of their body. Because it's true. And if you can notice that at that 9-10 years old, I think they'll enjoy it even more, because they're not stumbling or tripping over themselves or whatever.
And you start to see it. And like I said, I've had this group of kids that I love them to death. They're amazing. They're 10 years old now. And I just look at them, I'm like, you guys are moving like you're 14. I have never seen movements like that. You guys are doing things at 10 years old that I just learned junior year of high school. Yeah. And just being able, but again, I didn't have, a coach that was able to teach me those details. So, and you start to see it where you compare them to other 9-year-olds. We just got back from a tournament yesterday, 10-year-olds, up in Long Beach, which is, about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of us. And I hear it all the time. Parents are like, how do you get your kids to move like that? I'm like, I've been doing it for a long time with the same exact movements for a long time. We just have to make sure we repeat it over and over again, so that way it gets to that stage. Now that they have locked it in, it's going to be a lot easier for them to transition into an older body and just keep those movements. So Again, just, that's the way that I kind of approach things, and for training for me. And that's one of the big drivers is I just hate the 2 + 2 = 3. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Just teach them the desired way. And part of that is just understanding what that desired way is. So I understand that as well. But I almost want to do a clinic for, coaches, or a clinic for dads, and just, because they're the ones that are going to be seeing them the most. And here you go. Here's how I like to operate. You might not even need to see me one-on-one if I can give you this knowledge as well. So that way you can go ahead and teach your son the same exact way. So
that may be the thing that you potentially take online, right?
Yes, that would be a good online one, because that would be a little bit more cookie cutter. I don't have to go ahead and visualize and look at the actual player and their movements in that specific manner.
Well, so, you could actually teach, hey, if you see this is the potential problem. Here's how you can resolve that. So you can give them some.
Here's
some
a drill
options
to be able to just hone in on and correct that movement. Exactly.
And continue it, right? Everybody I talk to are either former they're all former ball players at one point. So everybody had a dream that got crushed. That I talk to, and I don't ever put it that way, because it's a little too raw at the time when I bring it up. But it's the case, right? Everybody has this dream. Everybody has this, and it ended. And what it shows me about the people, and it also is about the game, because I think baseball is very, very unique across all sports. The people that stay in the game, their love and their passion for the game has never wavers, right? They may have some times when they want to walk away from it and get their head straight or whatever it is, but they feel like they have not lost their dream when they're doing something like you're doing right now. I don't see it in your actions. I don't see it on your Instagram. I don't hear it in your voice. No, you are as passionate now as you were probably when you were doing what you were doing.
Not at all. I'm probably more passionate about it now than I have ever been.
Exactly.
And that's partially because now I'm making an impact. Now I can literally look at and name, a handful of players and said that I helped them get to the spot to where they are now. And it's better than where they were a year ago. And what was in it for me when I was playing? Let's say I did go on to, some of those, scholarships at a, small school and kept playing. Okay, well, then I'd still be here. Even if I was, to make the league or whatever, I'd still eventually be here at some point. If I was 6'5" and hit 400 the rest of my life, I made it to the Hall of Fame. Great, cool, whatever. I'd still be done with baseball eventually, and I'd still want to give back eventually.
Right.
So I'm glad it happened earlier than later. So I'm more passionate about it now than I ever was.
I think that's great. So what drives you crazy most about today's youth?
Oof. A few things. I don't think it's their fault, but like I said, just being taught that, whatever instances is, if I see a kid that, is doing something, I'm like, where did you learn that? What? And I was watching YouTube video and I saw this kid, from the Dominican that did this. I'm like, knowledge is great, 100%. I understand it. Knowledge is great, but at some point, it's almost too good for these kids that are just doing everything.
Right.
And sometimes you kind of have to hone him back in. I have a kid I've been working with for quite some time, and he's looking really good, smooth. Everything is starting to come together. Then all of a sudden, he left for a week and came back and started doing something completely different. And I said, what in the world? Oh, this YouTube video. I saw this, the Beltre brothers in the Dominican or wherever they're. And I'm like, no. Let's just stop that. And I'm like, I have to explain what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Right.
Not that I don't want you to do it, but I don't need you to do it all the time. There's a reason why they're doing it, and there's a specific time of why they're doing it. So knowledge is power until it becomes too much. That would be a big thing. Another thing is just, I think there's, and this could be just from a different, parenting standpoint as well, of kids that have to look for affirmation.
Okay.
When I see the younger ones, especially, and this actually goes for a pretty high age, they have to look to mom and dad for affirmation. And that's a big thing that kind of hurts me almost, because, and I just told my kids this yesterday. I'm like, look, no one has ever said, hit this ball or you're not going to eat tonight.
Right.
And even if they did, they didn't mean it. You're going to get fed. You're going to play baseball again. You're going to have a home to live in. But nowadays it's like, I don't know, maybe I just don't remember doing it. But it was like, oh, you messed up. And, you when you were real little, you cried and you got mad. And then when you got older, it's just kind of, whatever. For the younger ones that I have, some of them, they you always see, and even especially with other teams, whatever it is, I try to cut that out right away. But they're always looking at mom, looking at dad, and that's that kind of. But if they'll grow out of that, that's not too bad. But those would be the two that.
Well, let's expand on that just a bit, right?
Okay. Okay.
I think this affirmation thing is actually bigger and more of a problem than I think what we really realize it is. You spelled it out really clearly when you were younger, right? You liked the Friday nights out with your boys. You played hard, and then you did right. You worked hard. You played hard, and it kind of just, you made mistakes. It rolled off your back, and everything was fine, right? Today, you're absolutely right. There's so many kids that are looking for that affirmation from their parents, and they play fearful. They play scared.
Exactly.
Right. They don't play loose. They don't play like, hey, there's a tomorrow. They play like there's not a tomorrow, right? And it's almost. The theories behind that, I think you have a lot of parents that are living vicariously through their kids.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
And the kid doesn't really like doing what they're doing.
Yeah, that I do see that at some really young ages, which honestly makes me scared to have a boy. If I'm blessed with my wife to have kids, I told her, I was like, I got to have a girl first so I can get that out the way.
Right.
And I can, have that just kind of be like, okay, this is how to be a parent, because no matter what you say, your first kid is an experiment. It always will be. You have never been a parent before in your life, so you're just trying to figure things out. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll get her into softball and I figure things out, and then my boy I can just be easier with him, and I won't be so hard, or vice versa, whatever it is. Yeah, that's going to be a hard one for me. But I do agree that it could be that. It could be that.
Hey, and I'm not out there anymore. I watched. This was probably a good 20 years ago, and I saw this change, right? When I was a kid, and I've talked to a lot of old time coaches on this program, and it's been really great. We reminisce about riding our bikes to the field and with the bat in the back.
See, that's funny that I was just going to mention. Kids don't get in trouble nowadays.
No.
And I tell them all the time, I'm like, look, go get in trouble, because I need you to see. And I tell this actually my team that I have. I know I keep reverting back to that, but that's just the most recent and the best examples that I have, because I see them so much. But they're very talented. They're very good. They can go into tournaments and just mop the floor. This weekend we played a tournament and we didn't play more than 4 innings in a game, because every team got run ruled, and we run ruled every team, which is great. It's great, absolutely cool. But I need them to get punched in the mouth.
Right.
And that's where I feel like kids don't have that experience. They don't have that experience of getting punched and I mean that in a literal and figurative way, of getting punched in the mouth and being able to get up and say, oh, I'm swinging back. And that's where a lot of the troubles, I think, can come from, as well as we're again, this goes for just as a society, and of course this is kind of getting off topic, but it kind of goes back to the old thing of before, when you were sick and you didn't have internet, you just were sick, you lay in bed, you take whatever you take, and then you're good to go. Now it's like you WebMD it, and you go to the ER and they just tell you that you have a sinus infection, and so that, or you think you're dying or something. And so that's
right.
Again, the knowledge and the access to things is great. It's almost like it's a blessing and a curse, and that kind of trickles down to what I personally see on the younger ages as well. Is some kids, they're not used to getting punched in the mouth, and they don't, the autonomy might not necessarily be there as much for them to be able to do so. But it lingers a little bit longer than I think it did for us, at least. Again, that's just my thoughts.
I think that's actually, it's the same topic, right? The guy, I just interviewed Walter Beatty out of the East Coast, and the guy's been around for a long time, and the conversation we had with him was the riding the bike. The parents weren't involved. The kids went and played ball, and they played loose, and they played fast, they played fun. Nobody was watching. Nobody really was keeping score.
Yeah.
Nobody was writing down scouting reports.
Yeah.
Nobody was being yelled at.
Yeah. Scouting reports at 9 years old wasn't a thing. It was
exactly.
No one cared what you did at 9, 10 years old. Now it's like we got perfect games that go all the way down to 7 years old, and we're taking, out of a grade scale, this kid's an 8 out of 10. I'm like, what? How is this so again, it's just a different time, which is not, bad or good. It's just different. And I think part of baseball, actually all of baseball, is a failure sport. And I think that's the only reason why it can be conducive, is because if you never have felt what it's like to get punched in the mouth, then it's going to hit you hard. It's going to feel like Mike Tyson's hitting you when it does happen.
That was the other thing exactly. One of the things that was brought up was, when you're putting everybody at 10U and then everybody moves up to 11U and then everybody moves to 12U, you're never seeing this guy that's throwing the heat and you losing when you're young. A lot of kids, all the superstars are all on these great travel teams, and they don't lose. They just keep winning, and they keep winning, and they don't. That adversity is delayed, and a lot of times the expectations are skewed because we put them in this bubble, and we've created this place for them that's a safe place. That again, my theory, talking to a lot of people, I may be completely off, but I think what's happening is a lot of people are starting to notice this, and that's why we're trying to change the game. I watched a couple of your TikToks, and I don't think you're a big fan of these MLB rules changes.
No.
And I think what's happening is we're fixing something that's not broken. The real problem is the fundamentals, and I think that's what this whole podcast is really about, is what should we be focusing on, is what's the most important thing.
And to actually answer that question, for a younger age at least, is just development. I think I don't care what team you play on, and this is, like I said, I stress to my guys all the time, I understand you guys are good. I still need to get them, have them to get punched in the mouth, but my biggest thing for them is that they continue to be a better them. And that's all that you can do. You got to be able to play your competition, but just be a better you. Did you get better? Let's just looking at this as a business standpoint. Let's look at this quarterly. Did you get better in the past 3 months? Do it again. Did you get better in the past 3 months? Do it again. Did you get better in the past year? Boom. Now we look at a full calendar year, and now you should have something to say, I got better at X, Y, and Z. And that's where, to me, I don't care what coach, team, whoever, whatever you do, are you better now than you were 3 months ago, 6 months ago even? Take a look at a 6-month time frame, and are you better now than you were then? If the answer is yes, then great. That's all you could have done. Regardless of, adversity or whatever it is. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to face that eventually, but again, all you can control is you, essentially. So that would be the one thing that can almost combat that, is just being able to be the best you.
Yep. So is that really what a parent should look for from a good trainer? I mean, you're obviously not doing
100%.
Okay. 100%. So talk a little bit about what parents should be looking for.
Oh gosh. Being able to connect with your son or child. If they can't connect with them, then it doesn't it doesn't hit home as much. I like I said earlier, I've had great coaches around me, great coaches, baseball minds, whatever it is, but it's kind of like your favorite teacher in school. Well, why were they your favorite teacher? You liked the class, maybe the kids around you were cool, that's great, but this teacher had your attention. For whatever reason, they had your attention. They might have been a little different than all the other teachers, or maybe not, but they had your attention some way, somehow, and they knew how to connect with you to where if you knew that you were getting pulled after class, let's say it was from your other 3 teachers, you knew it was only because it was bad. If I'm staying after in this class, something happened. I messed up somewhere along the lines. If I was staying after in this class, they could have pulled me aside because it was bad or good. Right. But you had that level of connection with that teacher, and that to me is where parents should be kind of looking in the development. And I tell or trainer, I should say, I tell parents all the time, an MLB tag doesn't mean much to me anymore. It used to, and it's like, oh dang, that guy played for what organization? That guy did who, what? But I've seen the guys that have played, I'm not going to name names, but there's some active players right now that can, MVPs, but they can't explain what they're doing in a way where it's making sense to me. So it's right. That's been a long-term thing. It's been a long thing for I should say it's been a thing for years in the past, as well as there's been guys that have been able to do it but just can't teach it. And that's where I think you need to find a trainer that can be able to teach it and make a connection, because if they can me personally, I feel like I can connect with a 9-year-old, I can connect with a 29-year-old. It doesn't matter. I can be able to do it in a way where it's hopefully going to impact them, and that way they can understand. But if they can't connect with them, then it makes it really hard.
Yeah, students don't always make good teachers. I mean, that's
exactly
it's across the board, right? That's why you have people that focus and their skill is that train, and then really the connection. So what is one thing that you would change in your baseball journey?
The one thing that I would change would be the thing that I do now, and that's just put in effort. I'm telling you, I didn't care. It wasn't. I would at max, stay. I think it was one time, even one of my best friends stayed over in high school after practice and took some ground balls, and but the game came pretty natural to myself and a lot of my friends, and it was cool. We rode a really good wave of from 11 through 14 of our same travel ball team, and did wonders. And then all of a sudden you get to 15 years old, and you look around, you're like, all of these guys are good. Hold on, these not only are they good, but you can tell they've been putting in effort because it stays consistent. And by that age, things kind of got a little streaky. And so that's where, if I were to change one thing, it would be just do what I do now. I work all day and I go play baseball. I go to school all day and I go play baseball, but it was more of just like doing baseball versus playing baseball, and being able to really kind of get into the depths of how to play baseball was something that I did not do before. And like we mentioned in the beginning, I'm so much more of a student of the game. My knowledge is 10 times bigger than what it was back then when I was actually playing. So that's a huge thing that would change along my journey.
That's good. So what are your plans? What 5 years from now, what's prior development going to look like?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really have any plans for it at all.
I think we may need to ask your wife then, because she's
exactly.
Got you going,
That'd be a good one for her. She's been my self-proclaimed manager for the past however many months, and but I've just been having fun with this. Like I said, as long as I'm able to to be able to do it. I would love, a dream of mine would be able to have a crazy facility and be able to work out of there with, everyone that needs to come in, whether it be MLB guys that need a place to, just take some ground balls, or, just training, the group of, 6, 7, 8-year-olds that are just starting to learn the game. That would be a dream. But what's funny is, as much as I love baseball, I don't know if I would enjoy doing baseball full time. And that's one of the reasons why I haven't really gotten into it full time quite yet. Because right now it's an option and it's something that I want to do, versus something that I have to do. If I had to go do a training because, I need to pay I just bought a house in San Diego. I got a mortgage that I got to pay. Right. If I had to do that, would it still be, a love for me? Absolutely. Would I cherish it the same? I don't know. So that's been a mental battle that I've had in the almost past year now, is I feel like I've gotten to the spot where I can just go do this full time. And, I definitely have the demand to be able to do it, but I don't know if I want to. I would love to. I just don't know if I'm there quite yet. Once I get a facility, that would change everything.
I got two things for you then. All right. So we're this is therapy session. These podcasts always become therapy sessions. So here's the first one. Have you ever you've heard of DBAT, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think DBAT. I don't think they have a location in your area.
No, they do not.
Okay.
I've actually been to the one in Arizona, and I think I was planning on going to the one next month in Texas, but there's no DBAT in San Diego. No.
Okay, so that's the first one. I know the guys there, and they're always looking for good franchise owners just like you.
Oh,
so you need to.
That's
you need to check that out.
Now we're talking.
So that's the first one, and I've actually interviewed two guys. One just opened up a place in Nashville. And he's John Christ. You can actually go and watch my podcast, and I'll get you his contact information. He's just a great guy. Just opened 1 year anniversary in Nashville. The other guys, two guys, former college ball players, Bobby Hernandez and Cody Cower. They're down in Shreveport, Louisiana, and they're running the DBAT down there. So awesome facilities. DBAT's a great brand. The cool thing about it, which would fit what you're doing, is it's the younger kids.
Yes.
One of the things something I learned, I thought it was kind of the high-end elite players coming in there, and they said, nope, this is a lot of the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that age group.
That age group,
really good for what you're talking about.
Yeah, that age group is huge to be able to kind of funnel in, and because that's the age group to me that needs the most development. So, yeah.
Well, there you go. The second point is you need some adversity in your life. I'm telling you, you skated through high school. You were really, really good. And the thing that you said that you might have wanted to do different is really push yourself. And I think,
that's hey, I like it. I like it, man.
Make it a challenge. It's not about you not loving it. You know you're going to love it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is your passion. It comes across. It's all over you. Doing this full time wouldn't be work anymore for you.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Like I said, I've as recently as last month, I really flirted with the idea of, you know what, I need to just stop working, and I catch myself sounding like those ads on YouTube of I've quit my job, my 9 to 5, and now I make $5.6 million a year. And it's like, could I be that guy? Is that me? Am I at that stage? Can I make $5.6 million next year? Is that what I'm? But that's.
You also don't want to be the guy that gets sucked into that either. Right?
Yes,
you don't want to be like the guy selling everything, starting a business.
Exactly. That's been the hardest struggle for me, and but that's, as joking as I say that, that's exactly the spot that I'm in. Is this time to where I need to just stop and just focus on baseball and see where it takes me? Maybe that leads me to owning my own facility. Now, of course, again, I'm in San Diego. Getting a facility more than 2,000 square feet.
That's okay. You need to stop worrying about the things that you don't really need to worry about.
Tell DBAT to hurry up and get something in San Diego, and I will pitch in gladly.
Well, no, I think you should. You really should go online, look it up, look at the franchise opportunities. The guy that can help you through his name's Cade, and they are really, really good at helping people like you that are passionate about it. to get a facility going. So they put all the business behind it. They're looking for people that have the passion to help kids. That's the goal. And they'll help everything else. They help find the location. They help get the thing going. They put it's really, you don't have to do anything but be there and be passionate and drive the business.
Hey, that sounds like a sweet deal to me.
Kate, if you're watching this or you're going to watch this, you need to at least kudos to Blue Book for helping you get a franchise going there.
There you go.
No, I think this is great. Jay, I think you are the young guys. I've talked to a couple. There is nothing that the old timers need to worry about with guys like you coming up at your age. One of the things, the old timers like things the way that they like them, and they get nervous about what's changing and what's going on, and there's the pay to play stuff, and there's just a lot of things going on in baseball, but guys like you would really make them smile. So there's a lot of, I'm telling you,
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate
real quality, just a personality. I like you. I could hang out with you and we could just chill.
I got my fridge right here if we need to, crack open some cold ones or something anytime, man.
Hey, do you ever get to the ABCA conference?
You know what? I just got the text message today about Chicago, and I completely forgot. I'm actually going to Chicago in 3 weeks, and I completely forgot that this one was in Chicago, or else I probably wouldn't have booked this trip to go back to back. But I think I will. I just got that text message like today at 9 a.m. and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should look into that. Maybe I should actually go to this one because I didn't last year they didn't have one. The year before was in Nashville.
I believe it was Nashville 2 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, 2 years ago. And I think I know they have the layout there's one in Vegas, I think, coming up, which would be very interesting.
That is 2026, I believe.
Yes. I know Texas is on the list. So I've been looking at them. I would love to try to get to one because there's a few guys that, I personally looked up to, starting this journey. Duke Baxter was a huge one. Coach Lou was another one. And I just respected the way that those guys went about their business as far as, the social media and just their business as far as, the baseball sides of things, as well as the social media sides of things, because I didn't really have a a platform to try to build off of. I just said, I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to stay consistent with it. And it's built into, what it has now, which, I'm very thankful for. So, those two guys, I would love to kind of talk to them more, baseball mind. And like I said, those were guys that I definitely looked up to when I first started this journey and still do. So,
well, that's the thing that's great about the ABCA. It's really just getting to see everybody and the vendors and just coaches all across the board. So we're going to be there. And I just ask everybody because it's a great time to just,
you know what, after this, I'm going to go ahead and, see if I can check my flights out and see kind of Southwest points I have.
There you go. So Jay, let me ask you just last question, and then we'll wrap up. The Baseball Blue Book. What did you know anything about it other than what you saw on Instagram?
No. Okay. When you guys had first reached out was the first time I had ever seen it. No idea it even existed, to be completely honest. Okay. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's a lot of people, but that are out there. But I definitely think like I said before, man, I like exactly what it is. I like what you guys do. I like being able to connect people from all over, different places. If I go to this state, I can just check it out and see who's there and what minds and what people I can interact with and connect with if I need to, if I'm not on vacation to go into a different state. But yeah, no, that's I do like it. And I think there's a huge market for it because it's essentially kind of like that ABCA kind of thing where, people coming together to share an affinity it's almost like a car club, and being able to have the obviously the Blue Book of that is great to have. So
and it's really we're really trying to make it like the LinkedIn for baseball, right? It's a resume builder no matter who you are. You're a trainer that's really starting off and you need to build a resume, right? There's coaches out there that are building a resume. Players are building a resume. And so it's less recruiting. It's more of a tool of connection. But I just encourage you to be active on it. Post some of your videos on it. That would be great. Hopefully I can get some shout outs for the podcast on your Instagram from you.
Of course, 100%.
You've got an amazing following, and we really appreciate being part of that.
Thank you.
And so we're just excited about partnering with people just to make relationships, and we're all really, our goal, we're not going to charge players anything. We'll never charge a player anything. So you can be assured that you can make recommendations to players that you have to go, hey, check out the Blue Book, knowing full well that there's nothing hidden for them. And that's one of the things that we are priding ourselves on and promising to the people that we work with. So
100%.
I appreciate that. Jay, thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun.
Of course, man. Of course. This is great. I wish I could do these more often, to be completely honest. I love being able to talk baseball. I love being able to talk about specifically my journey. And you know, I although I don't really have a far-fetched journey, I feel like it's different than, you know, what many people kind of hear of like I said before, the guy that, you know, got drafted and played in the minors and you know, things didn't work out. And now he's back wherever in his hometown and training and doing that. I wasn't even close, but that's the reason why I have that passion. And hopefully I can, you know, help somebody get to that point to where, you know, they're a big leaguer and can stay there for years to come. So,
you know what, what you've got is just as good. I'll tell you what, it's about the drive. It's about the passion. It's about what you love. And, you don't have you don't have, maybe it's less baggage. If you would have played the major leagues, maybe there's things that would have come along with that, and that would have made you less of what you are today with the kids. So count your blessings, right? Be happy with where you're at and what your journey is. So Jay, thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you. Hopefully, let's stay in touch. And I'll hopefully I'm now communicating with on the Blue Book. So if you don't have a profile set up or you're not looking at it a lot, you can chat and message right in the Blue Book app. It's a way that I'm communicating with everybody that I'm working with. Obviously, I'm trying to push people to use the app, and that's why I'm doing it. But I think it'll be good. So thanks, Jay. Have a great evening.
Of course, thank you.
Yep. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for joining, guys. That was a lot of fun. Make sure that you're subscribing to the channel, sharing it with your friends. You can find me on Twitter, Baseball Blue Book, also on Bottom of the Ninth P. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure that you check out our free app. Go to baseballbluebook.com. Download the app for free. Players, coaches, vendors, trainers, whoever you are, baseball enthusiasts, everything is free. You can search your favorite programs. You can look at the players. We've got video. We've got everything. So very excited. Thanks a lot, guys.